the Triple C Collective.
Collin here.
And we are ready to bring you the final episode of Volume 2 of Visions. Episode 9, Ow's Song from Triggerfish.
Yep.
And I gotta say, this was one of the most different,
Yeah, definitely. This one was out of left field. Honestly, it threw me for a loop that it was the finale. I was like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it didn't give finale vibes, but it was a great episode.
It really was. And
animation style, though, it just proves that Star Wars is such a good universe that you could do so many different styles and still feel like you're in Star Wars.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
There's not many things that could do that.
And so it is so good, but dude, these are felt toys.
Yeah, so cool.
That they are using.
They're really cute.
But we get the most different intro in the fact that we get just words coming up for the first time. It's not like the typical episodical scroll that we get or anything. It's just sentences coming up telling us about this world of Korba. And that it was once rich with the Kyber crystal. Yeah. The Sith came and poisoned it, and now the people of Korba mine the crystal for the Jedi for them to then purify in a very difficult,
long process.
Difficult, long process, but bringing it back to that harmonious state. And then we get the introduction of Korba. We meet Ow first. She's not named yet, but
so we meet Ow, who's a little girl, going through her day.
Yeah, basically climbing some sides of mountains and stuff.
Yeah.
It's.
But I also like to point out the fact that the difference between the mining operation in this episode and the mining operation in the pit.
Yeah.
How much more desperate that was, and how it doesn't have to be such a dehumanizing process to work and do something that's bigger than yourself and all that.
Right. And that's actually really interesting to see that kind of difference and stuff.
Yeah. They're both doing the same thing, and one's done in a horrible, inhumane way, and one's done in a normal way.
Yeah. But we also get this really interesting voice kind of calling, vocalizing.
Right, throughout the episode.
Yeah, and the Owl then kind of starts to appear to almost sing back. And we get these really great animation, these little squiggly lines. It's almost like the spider sense recognition tingling thing from Into and Across the Spider-Verse now. And then it's disturbed by a ship approaching, and the little girl heads home. But these things are just
if you will, it's throughout the episode it's harmony.
Yeah.
It shows harmony and the harmonious things, and then every time something kind of cuts her off or she gets interrupted, the harmonious vision you start to see goes away immediately and kind of crashes down fast.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we see. We always see Al covering her mouth all the time and making sure that she's being very quiet and stuff.
Yeah, that's why your dad's so strict. Her dad is so strict because he knows that she has this power to.
Yeah, her voice does something.
It's not good. Usually it leads to destruction. You know what I mean? It leads to to things to crumble around him, and so he's very careful with her. He's very strict, and they also run into the Jedi. What's her name?
Kratu.
Kratu. Yeah. She's great.
She's great. She's awesome. Kratu gets the Kyber crystal, but as Abed, Ow's dad, is giving the Kyber crystal to Kraut the Jedi, she Ow starts to sing, and then we see there's another kind of surge of energy or whatever that we get, and then
the harmonious energy.
Yeah, it kind of dissipates.
Yeah.
Kraut goes outside, and we see Abed's hand at some point has that burn in there. Later on, after Kraut leaves.
Kratu.
Yeah, Kratu leaves. Yeah. She Abed's you gotta be careful about this. This stuff burns. And we got the Kyber crystal burn in his hand and everything. But Kratu, she meets Ao and like feels like that like there's something special about this child.
There is something special.
And we get like that internal voice again, like that kind of thing, and we see the crystal, and it's like their minds meld basically.
Right.
You know, like they become one for a second, and Kratu's basically just like, you know, like it calls to you, like, you know, I appreciate all that you do here, Abed, and everything, but like you guys take a great risk and everything, and to answer the call when something calls to you, you know, dropping that little hint to Ao and everything is it's just so great. But dude, these things are made out of just like felt bouts. Like,
I know, that's why it's so crazy, because it's so beautiful. It's such a cute little episode. I loved it. And
like with the colors and like the felt and everything, it's so great.
It's really like, how did you do this? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you'll have some insight.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Right.
It's great stuff. And you know, so Kratu leaves, and then Abed's like, we got to get to work.
Right.
And so like then we get to work. We get the bike ride. We get the really awesome, like, we get some really amazing, like, Zelda type of, like, music throughout this entire episode. It had,
fun, upbeat music that's kind of, like, going around, and she's doing her little job.
It's like the good times in the villages of, like, Zelda.
Yeah.
Like, it's beautiful stuff. The backgrounds and the scenery that we get here, like, all the different areas of, like, Korba and everything is great. Like, it's so awesome. Father mines, as we were talking about, like he actually is a miner here. But Ao is in the stables, just like cleaning and brushing the livestock animals.
Like
whatever there.
Homestead work.
Yeah,
but she gets kind of called away at this moment. She hears that calling, that singing.
Yeah,
and then sees this mine, and she just wants to go in. You can tell so bad.
I mean, she grabs the hard hat. She slips between the other two, and then, you know, next thing we know, we see her just like in the cave, falling into like a little or like going to a cave, and it's at her dad's mine, like entering the mine or whatever. But then she like gets scared or whatever, and she kind of falls down the hill a little bit, almost falling off the cliff.
Exactly.
Like that was wild. But then she sees the little crack in there, and then she goes in, and then she goes into the mine that way. And like the mines here are just like insane, because like the thing that chased her away was that like deadite.
Yeah,
do you remember that Sam Raimi type shot of like it's like a force or a voice or whatever, and it like comes out, and the only way I can describe it is the Evil Dead deadite shot. Like you either know what that shot is or you don't. You also saw it in Multiverse of Madness, like
true.
Like when Sam Raimi directed that, you either understand that shot or you don't. But we get that there, and for me, I was just like, that's sweet. Like, that was always sweet. But once she enters the cave and stuff, like the mines, dude, it's wild. We start, like...
The voice is singing, she starts singing. The again, this harmonious force thing is going around her, and it seems to be... working. Whatever is happening seems to be working, and then all of a sudden, it gets interrupted again.
Yeah.
And as soon as it gets interrupted, it goes bad.
Yeah.
So not it
gets the ticking. Like you start hearing her father calls. That's the interruption again. Her father interrupting.
And then he's like, "Hurry up!" It looks like she messed up. You know what I mean? It looks like she did this at this point, which I guess you could say she did. But it's almost his interruption that made it worse.
Right.
And he interrupts, grabs her out. They start running. He is on a bridge. It falls. He's like about to fall down and stuff. And then Kantu, right?
Yeah.
Or Kratu shows up.
And she slides down the side of the mountain with her Jedi, or with the lightsaber.
Yeah, really cool Jedi.
Does the Force like bubble above them? Abed she saves him enough, but like Abed kind of like falls twings his ankle enough to where he can't really get up and run away, and
she's using the Force as like the mines crumbling around them, and like so it's not hitting them, but she can't do it for so long, and then
Ao steps up. She knows exactly.
I don't know what to do.
she knows exactly what to do. And so she steps up and she's like, it'll be okay, Dad. I've got this. I got it. She starts singing. And her voice, does what it has been trying to do all episode in purifying these poison, corrupted kyber crystals.
Yeah.
And that's where and to be fair, we never really talked about it, but this is probably the best part. In the cave, we see it all light up red, and then we start seeing some blue and some purple kind of pop up and stuff. Here we see the same thing. We see all of the mines start lighting up red, and then they all kind of go red into purple into like blue, even into like I think ultimately they end up like in a clear kind of kyber crystal, because the one that Kratu then shows to Abed and Owl is, it's clear. It's not a blue.
Exactly.
It's not a true blue kyber crystal.
It's like it's a crystal. It's clear. It's like a diamond. It looks like
before the Jedi has influenced it, whether it turns then purple or green or blue, or back then.
It's pure. It's like what Ahsoka uses.
It's and it's it was just so great. This whole sequence was awesome, and then Kratu gives the very awesome compliments, like your voice is beautiful. I've never heard anything like that.
And we could train that. We could train that right up, but you have to be willing to.
You gotta leave. You gotta come with me.
Train.
You gotta come with me. You gotta leave your dad.
Which has been another motif this season. You know what I mean?
It's the call to adventure. It's that new path.
Ending on the call to adventure.
Yeah, that new path being laid before you, and what are you going on it? Or are you not going on it? Whatever. And it's the same thing here. Now, to be fair, this is probably the for the most part, I feel like we saw a lot of Sith kind of ones.
Right.
Of those, other than the first episode, she was a former Sith who then.
Most of this season was people becoming Sith
and being presented with that. So this is another one, being presented with that choice. But this is another one of those where she gets presented then with the ability to become a Jedi now, which is pretty sweet. And it's also awesome because she gets it, and then her and her dad think about it. Ultimately, she decides to leave with Kratu, and it's that last conversation her and her dad are having is pretty sweet.
Yeah. Because
her dad's like, you'll be the first one of your kind to ever go off and leave, not just be a Jedi, but to leave the planet and make something of yourself. You're living outside of this planet, and so you're the first one ever to do that. So
definitely
that's
something to be proud of.
Yeah, definitely something to be proud of. Definitely that dad's being the dad's I'm also terrified for you, but go at it. And they have a really beautiful meal, last meal there, sitting on the edge and everything.
Yep.
And then she just goes off.
Yep.
And we get more of that awesome happy time Zelda music again that I want to say.
Yeah, it's a great episode. I think this maybe is one of this and a couple other ones are really good for kids though.
Yeah. These are great entryways.
Very short.
I mean, all of Vision's none of them are longer than 20 minutes.
Right.
They all basically max out at 20 minutes. Even Volume 1 and 2.
But this story is very easy to latch on to. I feel
absolutely. And the colors and everything, and and again the little felt dolls and everything.
Yeah.
So the other thing I like to do is always end with a little bit of the filmmaker focus here. And so Triggerfish is actually from Cape Town, South Africa. Nadia Darius, and she's the co-director, and she's also a singer. So that's why we also had a lot of that vocal. She has a background in singing. They said she is a singer and she had a background in singing. I don't know if she's moved most of that singing work now to film and stuff. Because in the filmmaker focus and in the documentary, you see her behind the mic doing a lot of the vocalizations and stuff with everybody else. The other co-director is Daniel Clark, and Daniel is what they called a lot more of the art director. He would be the one doing sketches.
Well, he wrote the episode, right?
Well, they both wrote it. They both were co-directors, co-writers, and stuff. But one thing they set out to do is that they wanted to explore the Force in a whole new way that we've never seen before.
What I enjoyed about this episode the most is the force power that I've never seen before, but that's super powerful and cool and needed. Right?
It it was just great. It was just a great story. It was a great way to show the force, and like, you know, like at some point or another, like everybody has a form of like music that they probably enjoy that will have some form of singing in it. So it was great to see and have. And all of that, and
we've seen all types of art in this season, which is really cool. I love that. Like, even in the episodes, not just like of course there's art in the episodes, but I mean the focus of the episodes is about art. You know what I mean? And that's really cool.
Right. And again, everyone talked about like everyone at Triggerfish, like when they were talking about the documentary, they were like, everything that Lucasfilm and everything that, you know, the co-directors like expressed from day one, they were like, they really wanted to have like an expression of like, again, their culture, of South African culture, and Cape Town and everything like that, the same way that every other studio has done this amazing global animation this year, like or this volume, this season, whatever. It's just been so great. Like, again, all of the actors there are local to Cape Town, and all the voice actors were there. This animation studio is based out on a barn and a farm. So like, that's so cool. So like, it is just super sweet about it. I just love I love those puppets being made out of felt and leather. I just love it. Everything about it was really great. You know, one other final thing they said, they were like, you know, like the world needs healing, and Ao is like now out there in the world to try and help heal the world. Nice. And I thought that was a really cool sentiment of like things that they were trying to put out there in this stuff. Right. What about you, man? You got anything else before we wrap this up?
No, I just love that. I love to hear that they specifically put her out there in the world for maybe someone to use later on. You know? Because a lot of these characters in Vision seem like they deserve more time on screen or whatever it is.
So like that's the question now. I guess we can give a couple minor points to this. Like, I want to see a Visions Volume 3.
Oh, for sure.
So like, if first they did it with if they did it all anime to give back in the idea of like the Japanese like movies and stuff that influenced Lucas originally to do Star Wars and all of that, to then give them the chance to see what Star Wars influenced and like did to them and meant to them, and now spreading it to the world. Like, man, do we go to the galaxy now? Like, do we really go to a galaxy far away? But like, keep
it up. Keep showing these studios that don't normally get.
I think the idea of doing like continuing different animation studios globally is probably the way to go. Like,
for sure.
Just see all of these different things. And so yeah, I hope they crank out, you know, every couple of years we get a new Visions volume. Like, I'll watch this stuff all day, every day. It's so much fun. They're great. Like, they're awesome little short stories that like are totally worth it, but they also expand the world and they feel like they belong in Star Wars. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and wrap up Visions Volume 2, Episode 9, Ao's Song from Triggerfish Studio. I'm Jimmy with the Triple C Collective.
I'm Collin.
And we want to thank you all for joining us. We hope you all stay safe. Please like and subscribe to our video and to our channel. And as always, may the Force be with you.
Yeah.